say, silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn, because one street over there's a life I could have known, would have kept me from the one I had today.
LaVern, yes, this is one street over. What's happening? One street over from we are living, and we are living well here in Robertson County and points beyond. We have people that, we hit the signal hits their surrounding areas, the counties around the surrounding areas as well, not just Robertson County, but then, of course, via the internet, we're all over the place. We're worldwide. You can listen to us. Kaleb Stratton's on his way in this morning. A little bit of a different schedule this week because next week is spring break for Robertson County, and that means that, we've got just Kaleb and them. They've got things with their family, so Kaleb's coming in today. So we've rescheduled some folks, so we don't really have anything. I'm taking next week off. So, and I don't have any surgeries planned. It's so funny. Everything that I've had, any day off I've had, it seems like I've had something going on with all this joint replacement stuff going on, which I'm doing fabulous, by the way. So, it's just, I'm really excited to have a week off with nothing scheduled like that. Praise the Lord. But we've got some family coming in from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Looking forward to that. That's going to be fun. And I'm going to try, my husband mentioned this last night. It would be kind of fun to get my brother-in-law in here to talk. Him and his bride are in town. David and Sue are coming to town because he loves to cook barbecue. And they're having some kind of a, big event out in Lebanon. And they called us on the phone last night, and he was like, "We're going to Lebanon," and I said, "No, it's Lebanon." But anyway, he's excited about that, so he's headed out to this event out in Lebanon this weekend, and so they're going to be here for a couple of days with us here in Springfield, and it might be kind of fun to have him on Friday morning just to talk to him because he's a hoot. And you think my husband has an accent, you should hear his. But come on in here, Kaleb. But anyway, so we've got some things rescheduled this week because spring break is next week. And keep in mind that I know it's super cold. You got to take and scrape your windows this morning. But it is going up to 60-something today. And I'm still kind of dressed for winter because I'm so cold. But we went to a track meet. We had our first track meet. I am the assistant track coach at Greenbrier, and so that is my first experience. I mean, I'm just there to help Coach Rakes because I'm just there as a helper. So, but nonetheless, so we were at the track meet on Saturday, and it said it was going to get 60. We were so cold because it was windy, and we just about froze. And so I just can't come out of my winter clothes now after that day out on the at the field and track event. Up in we were in Lebanon, so we were out there, and I about froze. But they're saying it's going to get warm today, but I don't believe it yet. Do you?
Oh yeah, I believe.
I had to scrape my husband scraped my windows. Well, what's it saying? What's the predicted high today? It's really supposed to warm up. We're supposed to have a warm
It's
week.
supposed to be almost 80 on Wednesday.
No, it's not. 72
on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Would you really hear 80?
You need a better
really?
app.
I know.
No, I'm kidding.
But no, I'm seeing 74 on Friday, and then rain coming in over the weekend. So,
mine says 79 on Wednesday, wow. 68 today, 78 Tuesday, 79
68
Wednesday.
today. Mine's saying 64. We'll see who
Are you in Springfield?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm on Springfield. You're
what
on
weather app do you use?
I don't know, whatever iPhone has on here. Are you on one that's more official?
It's pretty accurate from what I've seen, yeah.
Okay.
It's called Weather Underground.
Okay. Okay. Well, the weatherman's coming in behind you today. He's coming in at 7:30.
Oh.
Bill Jones will be in here. So
ask him that question. Ask him what apps he uses.
Well, there's one. There is a radar map that he hooked me up with. It's called Radar Scope. And it's really good.
Yeah, that's one I've always used.
Radar Scope. I mean, look at that. We're seeing some rain up right in that area. We could get some. What is that? You seen the we're
We're trying to be
everybody's
weather.
listening is going, what are y'all talking about? We're on our apps and stuff. I'm seeing a little bit of, I don't know, activity on the radar.
I think it depends on which one, because I mean, I've got the same app and it's not showing anything.
It's not showing anything?
It depends on what layers you have turned on and stuff. So
Okay.
it could be showing clouds or birds or anything. You know?
Good morning. I'm so glad we've got spring break next week. Are you ready for spring break? My goodness, I am.
Oh yeah.
I'm a school teacher. I'm real ready for spring break. I got so much left to do though. We've got so many. We're working I'm still, I'm just in my third year and I'm still trying to figure out how to teach. I mean, I'm just, there's something I'll have seasons I'll go through and I'm like, man, I'm nailing this. And then I just kind of get so overwhelmed with everything. They have these production everybody has something they want us to do and we're glad to do it, but we have things that the kids want to do. And so trying to get all the news and all these things that everybody wants us to do with the things that the kids want to do, and they want to make funny videos. They want to do silly stuff, and that's fine. You got
clicks.
Yeah. Well, we're not doing any of that mess, but I'm talking. We're working on doing a film competition between us and Springfield. And so I was talking to Mr. Reagan over there, and so I learned this when I was on one of my visits to another school, that you can take the film competitions that the kids can be involved in, and we're not quite ready for that yet, but we're working on it, that, outside of the district, that you have like a common premise, like we're stuck in an elevator, and then you have a common line, like when are we going to get out of here? Mm-hmm. A common prop, and we did one, and it was a cup of coffee, and the common action, somebody that couldn't quit dancing. And then and then you had to have a name, like that they had to have a common name, and ours was Bobcat. So we did a little short film with that, and the kids had so much fun with it. They only thing is they tend to waste a little bit of time on things like that, and trying to keep them on task. So we had that going on. But then last year, I love history, and so I had just been studying. During the time frame of when Caesar was killed, assassinated, and they went from a republic to a empire, Rome. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, this would be a really interesting thing to remind the kids they were a republic before they became an empire. And I thought, ooh, Ides of March. So I wrote this little kind of satirical little script, super short, and just kind of told the story. And I also talked about Cleopatra and the connection she has to it, because a lot of people don't realize they were all, they knew each other, and Cleopatra had a kid with Caesar, and then you got the whole Mark Antony thing, and, all of this kind of stuff going on. So I wrote that up, and we did it super quick and really rough cut. But this year we wanted to really do it up. So we got the theater kids involved. We did a stage production, 3 big green screens, had a student director, and they rewrote the script and added their own little nuances to it. We're trying to finish that because the Ides of March is this weekend, the 15th, right before St. Patrick's Day. So we want to release that theoretically Wednesday before the kids all leave. For a whole lot of kids, there's a thing now, high school kids, that you can be exempt from your midterms and your finals if you have an A or a B. And like if you have an A, I think you can have.
I heard that.
Yeah, if you have an A, you can have up to 3 absences, and if you have a B, you can have 2. So it's super strict, but it gets the kids to where they're following their attendance better. They're more academically driven. And so there's a lot of kids will be exempt. And so we wanted to release this before they leave, because it's going to be really cute. And so we just got a lot. And I got to get together some midterm stuff. And I'm just like, it's just a lot going on. So what's going on in your world?
All kinds of good stuff, yeah.
Good. Well, we're season 1. Did we have our last fish drop? I guess we have, right?
Yep,
Our trout, that happened. I didn't have time to do it. I mean, I was in school.
They're still there. You still go down there and catch them. They're still
go down
there.
and catch them. I wish I could get a hold of I'm trying to get time with my grandson.
I was
It's
down
hard.
there Saturday, and they were still catching them. So
Yeah, I'm sure. Like right there at the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep, they'll be there. They put in. They had quite a few extra this time, so they put quite a few in.
Well, maybe I can get my grandson out there over. I mean, because they're otherwise occupied at the moment, but I might be able to get him next weekend and maybe get him to come down and catch some trout. That'd be fun. But so you think we need to fish right there by the fairgrounds?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's where they put them in at, and that's where they stay. Yeah.
Okay.
You'll get a few that'll stray away.
What do you put on your hook for that?
People do different stuff. One guy, he takes just a can of corn and dumps it in a bag and puts some garlic in there and makes his own little concoction and.
Huh?
Yeah, just whatever.
But I mean, does it put like a kernel of corn on the hook?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Huh.
Yep. they like that. They seem to like it. He was
So
catching them about every other cast. So
okay, so I'm just perplexed.
Yeah.
So just what kind of hook? Any particular hook?
I don't know what size hook he was using, but just small hooks. Yeah, you don't want anything too big because those trout
Okay.
are pretty small. So
Okay.
but
they-
I
can
tell
you eat 'em?
everybody, oh yeah, oh yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah, they're really good eating.
Okay. But you
Um,
said they're small, like
Well,
mean-
yeah, I mean they're all they're within probably 7 to 10 inches.
okay.
I mean trout they're not super huge here. They'll put some bonus fish in that weigh a couple of pounds sometimes. So
Okay.
that are big fish.
Yeah. Interesting. So you said he gets a can of corn
Yeah.
and he puts garlic.
Garlic and something else I can't remember, but I may not tell all your secrets, to everybody.
Yeah, I guess. But so what else? Okay, so is there another good bait that you would suggest?
People use dog food,
funny.
artificial stuff. The artificial stuff I don't think works as good down here.
Yeah.
But you just got to think, these fish I call them pen raised. They're raised, in just
yes.
they're in a liner pond, so they're never used to seeing real stuff. So
That's true.
They're
Okay.
used to seeing little brown flakes of food because that's what they get fed. So
Okay.
when you first
Okay.
put them in, that's what I tell people is find something that looks like that. So they'll use little pieces of dog food a lot.
Okay.
To catch them, but
Okay, well that's interesting because I grew up with catfish ponds, and our catfish were used to we'd throw food out there and they
Right.
just start hopping,
yeah,
and we would just take a net.
yeah.
I got spoiled.
I
I
used to do
can't
the same
stand
thing, yeah.
catfish anymore. I got ruined on it as a kid. I'm just like, "Ugh, no, thank you. But we had catfish all the time, and I mean it was just constant. And I know I can dress a catfish pretty stinking fast, probably still to this day. But I would love to have some trout, man. That'd be awesome to have some fresh trout. Ooh, that'd be
down there and
good.
get it.
That'd be good stuff. That's
Bunch of
fish
'em
is
in there.
expensive,
Is it? I haven't looked.
terribly
at the
expensive. I like cod,
Yeah.
things like that. It is so expensive, but trout, man, that'd be fun. That'd be good. I don't know how to cook it. I've never done a fresh trout.
Yeah.
But I'm sure somebody could teach me. Somebody knows a good tip on cooking fresh trout. I'm going to go down there and fish.
YouTube's your best friend.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
I love to talk a good game, but just finding the time to do it. But who knows? Maybe next weekend we could have some time to do something with the kiddos. That would be fun.
Yep.
But what have you got going on as far as now hunting season? When are we hitting? When's everything coming?
So we're still in some small game stuff right now. Squirrel season closes the 15th. Last time I was in here, I talked about a squirrel hunt. Well, it ended up getting canceled.
Okay.
It was super cold that
Right.
weekend. It was down in the single digits that morning. It was just going to
Mhm.
be too cold. So squirrel season and that kind of stuff closes on March 15th now.
Okay.
So it's Saturday.
Coming up. Yep.
It's Saturday.
How's it
But
March?
with that being said, I can probably share it just to your Facebook thing here.
Okay.
Jason is gonna have it on March 15th now.
The one that you had to postpone.
one we
So you
postponed.
didn't really cancel it. You postponed it.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, it was canceled at first, and then they were able to get another
Mhm.
date. And Jason's worked really, really hard on this, getting everything together and everything.
Yeah.
So it's March 15th at 1:00 at Birds Processing. I'll post this on the Facebook thing right now. Birds Processing in Cross Plains. Starts at 1:00. What they're going to do is they're going to have an afternoon squirrel hunt, and I believe they're going to have a dinner that night,
Mhm.
and then it's going to turn into a coon hunt that night. So they'll squirrel hunt in the afternoon, meet back at Birds. I believe this is right. Have supper, and then go back out for an evening raccoon hunt. So
Oh, that sounds fun.
it's
Kids
going to
would
be
love
it's
that.
going to be really.
Do they need to pre-register?
So yeah, that's on this link I'm about to. put on
Okay.
this
Put
Facebook
that up in
page.
put it on my Facebook page in the comments there.
I will.
And Paul is asking, do you have to have like a special license to fish for trout?
He's good at asking good questions, isn't he?
Yeah.
So yes,
Oh.
if you don't have a sportsman's license or a lifetime license, then you need to have a trout stamp. That is correct.
Okay. So how do we get that? Can we get it online?
App online, yeah.
Okay.
Go
How
to
expensive is
Walmart.
it?
It's $22.
$22.
Yep.
So my grandson, though, since he has a lifetime license, can fish
doesn't
without
need
it.
it.
He does
Correct.
not need it.
That's correct.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, good deal. So if I take him fishing, I got to keep my hand off the pole,
Well,
right?
by the letter of the law, yes, but we like to use what's called common sense. So
I got you.
you know,
I got you. Because I'm honestly and truthfully, I'm not a fisherman. If I'm having anything to do with fishing, it's because of my grandkids.
yeah,
And trying to keep the legacy of being a hunter and fisherman and all that from their grandfather that passed away on the other side of the family, because he was just a really just into it, hunter and loved to fish and all that kind of stuff. And that's the reason why they have lifetime licenses, is because his bride, to honor him, is making sure that happens. Well, and Rowan's was purchased by his papa. So, because he passed away when Rowan was like 4, I think. So, but nonetheless, just to try to keep that legacy alive, because that was a big thing for him. So interesting. Well, good deal. So we can still go get some trout, y'all. You just got to get out there while it's still cool, and get them before they're. How many did they put in? Do you know?
They 600 maybe.
So there's a lot of fish in there.
Yeah, I mean,
There ain't no way that's been fished out. So.
no. Everybody says that all the time. They're like, oh. As soon as you put them in, they just come and catch them all. I'm like, no, they don't. I promise.
That many of them? Well, is that in total over the different releases, or
No, that was just for this time.
just for this time? And this is the 3rd release, guys, and so there's still ones in there from earlier that have gotten bigger, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Oh, people, and as long as they can, find a cool spot like a spring that comes in.
yeah.
I mean, they can go all the way through June, July.
Okay.
before they even die off. So
Well, so what was I going to ask real quick? I had a thought, and okay, so if you get the trout stamp to go and fish, and you catch something, you catch a bass, do you have to throw it back?
no.
Oh, I'm just asking the
No, yeah.
questions. I'm
No.
asking the important questions, y'all.
So like right
It's
now,
like
as far as
I'm supposed to be fishing for trout, and I caught a bass. Oops.
no, you
It's not-
you can catch. I mean, yeah, there's nothing off limits really here.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
we don't have a lot of the
So
endangered species or anything like that here.
So what if you have somebody that they're fishing and they truly didn't know about the trout? They catch a trout and they're like, I don't know there's any trout in
As long as
here.
they let it go, it's okay.
So they got to let it go. They
Right.
can't keep it.
If they keep it, they better get on their phone real quick and buy that permit.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. So yeah. All right. That's good information. Kaleb Stratton's here. He's our wildlife resource. Well, he's not our wildlife resource officer. He is our district sergeant.
Yeah, which I'm still an officer. Yeah,
Yes, but
there's just 2 of us
But
now.
you have Jason that takes care of us here, and he is putting together this hunt next Saturday that got postponed because of the cold, where they can hunt squirrel and what was the other one? Raccoon. So small game. They're going to finish that up. So that's going to be fun.
I was
gonna be
trying to.
fun.
I got
I'm
one of them
seeing-
posted. I just sent you a message. Maybe you can just share it.
I'll see if I can share that. But it's like, this is the Robertson County Youth Turkey Hunt. When is that one happening?
So that's what I was getting to next. Yeah, I sent
Okay.
you both of them. So
Okay.
I was contacted by a few guys a few years ago, actually back before COVID, and they wanted to do this. And the COVID hit, and just the next couple of years was bad. And honestly, I guess we all just kind of forgot about it till
Right.
this year. So same guys contacted me. They wanted to put on this youth turkey hunt, and I was like, heck yeah, I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working on this with a few guys from the county. We're actually going to have a meeting this week on it, trying to set it all up and get some logistics hammered out. But mainly, and the logistics are pretty much already done. But
Okay.
the whole gist of this is, years ago we used to have these hunts at Cheatham Wildlife Management Area where we would just go and we'd cook food, or the TWA would go, and I was a kid at the time, and they would cook food and have door prizes and giveaways and all kinds of stuff. And people would harvest a turkey, or kids would harvest a turkey. They'd bring them in, and all of us kids would just be around sitting there, just hanging out and just talking about the
How
hunt, and
fun.
telling stories and listening to stories about people that harvested birds. So that's what this is going to be. It's going to be at the pavilion up there in Adams behind the Bell School.
Okay. Okay, well that's cool.
And so
And I do have it, and so I am sharing it. Oh, and I see where you've put up the one on the little raccoon and squirrel hunt too.
yeah, I tried. I copied and pasted one, and then it wouldn't let me do it again. Anyway,
Okay,
that's why
I'll
I
take
just,
care of it.
I just figured I'd just send it to you.
Yeah. It's good.
And those links that I sent you, when you share that, it'll be on there where you can click it and you can go and pre-register. It just helps us get a head count. There's no purchase necessary on anything. Everything's completely free. For the turkey hunt, you don't have to harvest a bird to come. You You're going to go hunting on your properties wherever you have permission to go. You hunt, and you can start coming in as early as 8 a.m. We'll be there. We'll have biscuits and breakfast at 8 a.m.
Cool.
And we'll be there all day, but it's 8 to 11. At 11 o'clock, we'll draw for a couple of door prizes, or a bunch of door prizes, and giving away a couple of shotguns, giving away a prize for the largest turkey for girls and boys. So just mainly I wanted a place for everybody to come and just like I call it the old days, just
I think
hang
that's
out.
great. Just something you remember from probably one of the things that took you into the career you're in.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I mean, that's when, as soon as you said that, I thought, well, that sounds like something that, you know, was absolutely, could have led you to what you're doing.
In today's world, even the kids that do hunt, they go out, they hunt, they harvest an animal, deer, turkey, they take a picture of it, we put it on Facebook and Instagram, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like nobody calls and is excited to talk to their friend. Nobody goes to a check station anymore. And, you know, you'd sit at the check station for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
And just, you know, once you harvested a bird or a deer, and you just sit there and talk for hours.
Yeah.
But nobody does that anymore because of the phone. So I just wanted to do this to get it back to the old times, you know,
I
just
think that's a great idea.
get the kids together and like,
Yeah.
tell me about your hunt, you know, tell me what happened. How did it happen?
Yeah.
And so
I think that's a wonderful idea. But like you said, they check them in with their phone. That's old stupid phones have done a lot to us, haven't
Yeah.
they? I mean, it's
You
just
know,
they've taken a lot of the fun out of it, unfortunately.
yep.
But
And that's how it is with our agency. I mean, everything is online. And when I tell people that, they're like, especially older people, they're like, how do you do this? I'm like, oh, it's on your phone. And they're like, just
I
roll
don't
their eyes. Like,
understand. Everything's on the phone.
so I've got a couple of older gentlemen in the county that they'll kill a deer and they'll still call me to this day. Like, can you check my deer in for me? And so
that's
I'll
funny.
get on my phone and check it in.
That's funny. Well, also you can do it for them on your phone.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I was not able to get this.
Don't
for
tell
some
everybody
reason.
that.
I wasn't able to get this to go into comments, but I was
Yeah, I
able to
couldn't
get
either.
it.
I don't know why.
I don't either. I don't know why it wouldn't go in, but I was able to take the image and put it up if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see the image there. I was able to put that on there. So we got the youth, and Lee Marie sent us a couple of things. She sent me the youth turkey hunt. That's April 5th, you said, and that's what
Yes.
we were just talking
That's
about.
the juvenile hunt.
Okay, that's the
ages 6
juvenile
through
hunt,
16.
and that's when we were just talking about. I got distracted. I was sitting here trying to still get this squirrel and raccoon combo hunt posted. But what a great time! I mean, this is just awesome. I'm in here coming up. It'd be a great thing here in Roberts County because we're just getting ready for spring break, and so the kids are all fired about spring break on.
Yeah, hopefully not everybody leaves
Saturday.
too quick. Hopefully they'll be able to stick around for
Well,
this
that's just it.
before
Well,
spring break.
and
yeah.
there's a whole lot of people don't go anywhere for spring break.
yeah.
I'm not going anywhere. You know, I've got family coming in,
Right.
but I mean, we're not ones that I don't know. We travel, but we don't travel that much. I mean, some people gotta leave and gotta go somewhere. I'm not that person. I kind of dig where I live. I like just hanging out on my creek bank, you know. So I go as kind of I'm very blessed. I don't have to go to a park. I get to live in
Yeah,
one, you
yeah,
know.
that's
So
right.
so it's very cool. Well, what else is coming up? What else is coming up?
Well, something that we just did Saturday. I was with we were at Springfield High School. They had that community day.
Yeah.
If you heard about it or anything,
We
it
were at a track meet all day.
so
So,
they spelled it pretty cool. It was the word community, but then they took unity and capitalized it. So
Yeah.
unity, just trying to get the whole community to unite. Lieutenant Jennifer Holmes at the sheriff's office hosted it. She put it all together. She's with the juvenile division over there, and she did a great job. There was over 61 participants total as far as vendors like us. So the sheriff's office was there, obviously. Then I was there doing the law enforcement part. But then, I mean, just the health department was there. The UT Knoxville was there. The Second Harvest Food Bank was there. Isaiah House was there.
Great.
Chosen was there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, any type of community thing you could think of.
that's great.
Like I said, there were 61 of them there, and you don't think about that in Robertson County. To me, like there's 61. I don't know the word. There's
Nonprofits and
just
services.
services,
and
yeah,
just
youth,
services. that
mainly,
you-
and these
Yeah.
are mainly towards youth services for
Yeah,
kids and stuff.
That's really cool.
But adults can be there too, and they just there was some great networking with all the professionals. Everybody came around and
That's very cool.
super excited to see us there. I gave out so many business cards and people. This one young lady came up and she was homeschooled in 4-H, and she's her mom was like, "Hey, we remember you. We did a stream
Live stream.
no,
Right.
it's a at your house when we.
Oh, they were at our house?
Well, they didn't come to your house. So the first time I did this, remember, we did it before I knew you, I guess. We did it down there we pulled in and used the property of the water plant and went down there. It was with the historical museum.
Right.
After COVID.
Right.
Or during kind of COVID that summer where we couldn't really do much. And so they were getting kids out. But she was part of that. And they were like, can we do that again? And I said, yes.
We've got a great place for you to go.
So,
come to the house.
But yeah, she brought that up and she's like, I don't know where that was, but we drive by it all the time, just talking about just New Chapel Road. But
right.
She's like, I knew it was back in there. And anyway, just stuff like that's really cool because people remember that stuff.
That's fun.
I didn't even hardly remember it, but they remembered it. But that was a great day. Huge turnout by the vendors that were there. 61 vendors. But I didn't realize there was so much stuff in Robertson County until you get to walk around looking at it.
But like I said, we were on the
there's some pictures that the sheriff's office posted.
All-day track and field event.
Sheriff's office posted a lot of stuff or a bunch of pictures. Jessica was there taking pictures and stuff. So
speaking of, can you see my phone wigged out and I've lost a lot of my contacts.
Oh, no.
I don't have Jessica's phone number anymore.
Oh, heck.
As I was trying to message her about spring break next week.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be in here next week, so I got to get her rescheduled too. And so yeah,
Well, good thing the sheriff's office doesn't get spring break.
Exactly. She'll be like, "Oh yeah," but anyway.
I'll send you.
Just
her
send me.
number,
because I was trying to get in touch with her to try to reschedule, and I was like, I can't find her number. So anything else coming up? I know that, but then see. Okay, we're in March, April. When does boating season doesn't start?
That.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Memorial
You've only
Day.
got like one more month.
Memorial Day, so we got 2 months about.
2 months before boating season. Well, do you know I got a video of my son in his new boat out on the lake already?
Oh yeah. Well,
they were out there this weekend.
I was going to say Tennessee is turning into a year-round boating state. It really is.
He loves it.
Not just recreational, but fishing and everything. And we've already had I think we've already had 3 boat accidents here that we've worked. I think I told you about the one
right
I did here even in Robertson County and so Fort Creek. So
yeah, the kayaking.
The kayaking.
Yeah,
we've had a couple, and we had a boat capsize the other day. Had about 7 or 8 people in it. So all of them went to the hospital. So we've got officers running to multiple hospitals.
Where did that happen?
Percy Priest.
How in the world? What happened? How did they capsize it?
I don't know.
Many people on it?
I don't know.
Who knows?
They know. It's known. I didn't read the report yet.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw it the other day, but I didn't read it. But there's no telling.
There's no
I
telling.
laugh because it's not funny. Luckily, everybody was okay, but it's just, everybody drives a car and knows how to drive a car, and they get in a boat thinking it's the same as a car, and it's just not. People will get a boat and they'll put it in. Well, they didn't put the plug in. The plug keeps the water out of the boat. And then you're out there for an hour or two, and the boat's filling up with water, and it sinks. Overloading is a big thing too. People get boats, and it's got a plate on there. It tells you, maximum of 5 people, and then they got 12 people in there.
Oh goodness!
You hit a wave wrong, and water comes in, and you're done. So it's always something.
Yeah,
but, it's already starting. So with this warmer weather this weekend, a lot of people will be out, I'd assume.
Oh yes.
So we'll. That's something we're not turning into. I mean, our job's always been, to do the water, but it's year round. So,
well, we're pretty much out of time. Anything else before we wrap it up?
I think that's it. Y'all,
Okay.
please come to this squirrel hunt for sure. I'll be, what is March? No, I won't see you before the turkey hunt either. So please come and hang out at the turkey hunt. Again, you don't have to harvest a bird. Just, if you hunt that morning and get a break, come on in and at least get a chance to win a shotgun. We're giving away, like I said, a shotgun, tons of door prizes.
Cool.
So, it's.
So again, the squirrel and raccoon hunt is this coming Saturday, and we're talking 1 p.m. and you're gonna you can register at the link, and I've got it all up. I've got it here in my on my social media.
And all this
you turn LaVern Vivio. Where are they meeting for the raccoon hunt? The raccoon
Birds Processing.
Birds Processing. You said that. Birds Processing is where that's going to be, but I'm sure you can call them.
Click on that link, it'll pop up, and that's got Jason's phone number on there. I'm going to be out of town this weekend as well,
but then the one that's going to be the turkey shoot is going to be, or the turkey hunt, youth turkey hunt, April 5th at the Bell School up in Adams, and that's 8 a.m. until 11 a.m. Can win a shotgun.
Yeah, shotgun, tons of door. I mean, we'll have all kinds of stuff, giveaways to give out to the kids. So
I think that's a great idea. It's going to be a great time. It'll be fun. Good stuff. We'll keep talking about it. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate you, brother.
We'll see y'all later.
You take care and enjoy your spring break with your kiddos. And like I said, spring break's next week, y'all. Getting ready for it. Do what now? Oh, yeah. Well, Bill's coming in here. We can talk to him. Hey, and my husband still wants you to come and take care of the youth kids, that fourth block, and they want those certificates. Them kids want them certificates. Okay, give him a message. I'm doing some little business for my husband that teaches criminal justice over at Springfield. Caleb's been great. He's been coming in and teaching them hunting safety stuff. And they've got one class that he's got in fourth block right now. That's that last class of the day that he needs to talk to. So we want to get him in there because, I mean, it's gotten some kids interested in hunting and stuff. While Bill's kind of getting seated here, I'm going to talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Eggs at Prime Realty. Y'all know that's what I always do because they're my friends, my good friends. And if you're looking for if you're looking for anything in real estate, whether it's you're buying, you're selling, if you want to be a realtor, it's something we talked about when they were in last Monday for the hour, or no, it was last Wednesday, I guess. Man, time just, it's all blurry. But we talked for a minute about how that if people get into a foreclosure situation, you don't think about calling a realtor to help you out with that. But that's such a great idea because what you can do is sometimes get into a refi option, or you can sell the property instead of having it go into foreclosure, so you don't have a foreclosure on your record, and you end up maybe, making some money because you probably got some equity in there that you didn't realize. But there's always a better option than letting it go into foreclosure, and you can call Barry and Rebecca Richards to find out more details about that. Now, they are always, I say follow them on social media if you're looking for property. They put up great properties all the time. They do a great job presenting them. And if you've got property to sell, having Barry on board as a marketer to make sure that the photography, the videography, the walkthrough tours, all of those things are in place to make sure your property pops in the way it should. They're going to make sure that everything gets done. And, of course, they're going to be part of our Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival coming up in May 16th and 17th. They're one of the founding board members and sponsors and still sponsor just like they do One Street Over. So we appreciate them. They're so busy in the community because they are Robertson Countyans. They're up in Cross Plains, been there for nearly 30 years. And but they've got a diverse background. They've been all over, so they know the outlying areas. They buy and sell the surrounding counties as well, and also across the state line in Kentucky, because like me, they're from Kentucky, and so they have a very clear understanding of what it's like to live in Kentucky and maybe work in Tennessee. If somebody comes up and they says, okay, I have this much money to spend on a home, and maybe they're priced out of their range in this area, they're like, well, you can cross the border and maybe get a better deal up in Kentucky, and that won't last. We talked a lot about that when they were in last week. So there's so much going on in real estate. God's not making any more of it. And it's always a good investment. When's a great time to buy? They will tell you right now. Always a great time to buy because if interest rates are up, housing prices are down. The housing prices are up, interest rates down. It just kind of balances out. Reach out to them today at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, or 615-504-7424. 615-505-7424, or go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy BUY, RobertsonCounty.com. Always please let them know you've turned on.
Chilly.
I know it. And
30 degrees.
I've looked at the forecast and I thought, well, I feel kind of silly putting on a turtleneck today, but I'm cold. And but it's warming up.
I just put a forecast up this morning for the next 2 days. Anyway, we know that's accurate.
Well, and that's one thing Caleb wanted me to ask you. It's like we were both looking at our phone apps, and we both have I have the one that just comes with iPhone. It just is on there. It's the weather app that pops up, and it's telling me that the warmest it's going to get. I've got 72 for a high on Wednesday, but his is telling it's nearly 80 for a high on Wednesday. And then Friday, I've got like 74. We were kind of
what area are they talking about?
I mean, it's Springfield. This is when you pull up the app that just pops up that kind of comes with it. In Springfield, it's saying that we're going to get 72 for the high on Wednesday, and then up to 74 on Friday, and we've got some rain coming in this weekend. But when it comes to just the general temps and things like that, do you have an app that you're just looking at for like this one? See, this has got
there's lots of apps out there.
Now, I know about the radar scope because we talked about that one. But just general
Channel 5
weather?
has one. I think all the TV stations have an app, weather app. There's a lot of them out there. Some of them you pay for, some of them you don't. They give forecast or radar or whatever. But you got to realize that some of those apps are not regional. They're not local. They're regional, like Middle Tennessee. Like the weather people at the TV station have to give the information for their coverage area. Won't be for Robinson County. Robinson County usually is a little cooler than Nashville. So if they give a temperature, well, look, the high today is going to be 62. It's probably going to be 59 or 60 here.
Right.
Like today, the high is in 63 here, probably a little more in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to get it's called spot forecasting, when they forecast just for the town, even the town, sometimes it rains over here and doesn't rain over
I
there.
know. It's crazy.
And then people say, "Oh, you missed it." Well, no, it rained somewhere here.
I had what was the guy's name? He passed away, and I can't remember his name. It's just leaving me for a second, but loved him. He was, I think he was at Channel 5. He was one of the older, big, tall guy. Had he had a heart issue and passed
Bob
away.
Lobertini.
No,
Okay.
no, he's not been gone that long. Just a few years ago. I can't believe his name's escaping me.
There was a Church of Christ preacher that had a trick where he'd throw the chalk up and catch it in his pocket.
Yeah, no, it's not him. This is one of the. I mean, kind of my age. And he did Talk of the Town. What was his name? Somebody knows it. But anyway, he used to tell me, and we just, we would be around each other when I was doing radio full time. And so I remember him telling me, he says, the way you look at that, if somebody says there's a 60% chance of rain, that means of the listing area, 60% of those people are going to get rain.
Well, it's a little more complicated than that.
I thought that was a pretty good illustration.
Yeah, but it's more complicated.
I
That
know.
percentage is not what you
Right.
think it is, how it's done.
Mm-hmm.
It's done by computer now, but it's not a simple thing like you said there. But weather can get very complicated, or it can be simple.
Yeah.
Depends on how you're looking at it. But
So are we done
that's
with?
why so many people in the weather service have a big background in math and science. You have to be. You just might as well hang it up. If you don't do math well and science, and now they want people that have experience with designing web pages, because now they put out all kinds of stuff. Whether that's got a. What am I trying to say?
Well, you got to understand the social media aspect
Social
of it,
media.
do the digital aspect of it.
Yeah, I think what they'll do, if you go to the Weather Service in Nashville, it's a complicated site. They got so many pages there to look at for different things, and they get very deep, complicated in a lot of things. I think what it's going to gravitate toward, and it is now, is local people picking up information, say, from Channel 5 or Channel 4 or 2, or from the Weather Service. And I see in the future them coordinating with them and making a unit. So, okay, our unit or whatever out in Springfield is this, and Lebanon is this, and they will, in social media, tie in with them. And I think
Right.
that'd be a good idea. Say, if
Right.
you tied into Channel 5, they're going to get more coverage like that, and it's going to be more information. But we're just flooded with information now. We just get tired of all that stuff. But I see social media already as a big deal, but it's going to be bigger, I think.
I do too. I don't think it's going to slow down at all. But we're talking with Bill Jones, and this is not what we called him in to talk about, but we got to talk, Kaleb and I got talking about the weather. And so we had a couple of questions for him. Before we get into what you have brought to us today, I want to remind you that we've got the District Attorney Robert Nash is going to be speaking tonight at the Robertson County chapter of the TFA. And this is, so they're doing a St. Patrick's themed meal tonight, even though St. Patrick's Day is next week. But they're going to start eating about 6, and the program will start at 6:30. But you've got District Attorney Robert Nash. That's somebody I need to have on. I've talked about having him in here, and I just get so busy and I forget to set it up. Yeah, it would be.
TFA is Tennessee Firearms Association.
Yes, Tennessee
Meet at
Firearms
Greenbrier
Association.
at the
Yes.
VFW, or
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
If you head down 41, headed to Nashville, it's right there on the right. You can't miss it, the flags, but that's where they meet. But they're meeting tonight, potluck theme. You can talk to our District Attorney, Robert Nash, and again, he is speaking, and so that will be really interesting. And they have a great time. They have just a great community that comes together. They have
go
great
there every
meals.
so
Have you
often,
been
Yeah.
for the potlucks and stuff? They feed you well, and so they do the same thing at the Republican breakfast once a month. On that first Saturday. It's just too early. I have to get up. We've decided we're getting up at 4 a.m. instead
Well,
of
it's a lot
4:30
of
now.
friendly people.
Yes,
there.
wonderful
It's-
people. But
Enjoyed being there. It's potluck. You bring something. Bring a
Yes.
salad or bring
yeah.
whatever, a case of beer or what.
Well, not that. No. This Christian radio station, we
Yeah,
don't do
no,
that.
just
But
kidding.
no. Don't say that, Bill. You'll get us in trouble. You'll be going, LaVern. Don't let him say that. I'm sorry. Anyway, he was teasing. He was joking. Totally joking. But
that's me.
yes. Anyway, I don't think they participate in that there.
No,
So I know they don't, as a matter of fact. But nonetheless, so I got Bill coming in here. What really, I've been wanting to have you in to talk about your grandma, because you said she was going to be featured in the historic.
Well, not now.
Not now.
They changed that.
But
anyway.
it may be that they couldn't find the right actress or something like that. So I bet they'll use her later on, because it's an interesting story.
She's very interesting.
Very interesting story, your grandmother.
I hate to say she's my grandmother because I have a lot to say about her, but
Yeah.
it sounds bragging.
But
Suppose
it's so cool.
But she was different. She was one
I've
of the
read
first.
that story you sent me.
One of the first
Yeah.
women. Well, I got more than that.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
One
But
of the
yeah.
first women that got a college degree from Springfield, Robinson County.
And hers is the little schoolhouse you said that's up in the woods.
She
now,
built
right?
her daddy built a little schoolhouse. It's
Right.
still standing.
Yeah.
It's on Win Woodard's farm. And I talked to Win last week, and I said, let's go out there. I hadn't been
Yeah.
there in
I'd
several
love to
years.
see it, Bill. I would love to see that
I
sometime.
got pictures of it. I got
Yeah.
pictures of all the students standing around. She had started out, I think, 38 students.
Yeah.
It's 3 rooms.
Yeah.
And she was, and what I read about her, people who went to her school, she said she was a very unique way of teaching.
Uh-huh.
And I've been told the same thing in the way I do it. And I don't know what she did exactly, but I do know she considered education the prime thing for somebody growing up. It was very, very important. Her husband died when her last child was 4 years old, which was my mother.
Yeah.
And so she raised 4 children on a 300-acre farm, farmed it, managed the farm, sent them all to college.
Mm-hmm.
The boys became engineers, and the 2 girls became teachers.
Mm.
So that was very unusual.
To have had that kind of success. Here she was a widow with young children, and she just didn't relent.
Right.
That's what really struck me about her story when I was reading what you sent me. I was like, wow. I mean, you talk about a tough bird. So many people want to sit down and just, let somebody else
She had
do
to
it
be
for them. And she's like, nope, I'm doing it. I just, my goodness, what a lady. And tell them her name.
She was called Miss Bess Miles. That's
Okay.
her name is on the Sunday school class at the Mount Denson Presbyterian
I
Church.
thought that was still up there.
Elizabeth Clara Miles was her real name, but everybody called Miss Bess.
Okay.
And when she was in college, she was called Bessie. And I read some articles about her when she was at Peabody.
How cool.
And it's interesting to look
It's a
back at
neat
Peabody's
story.
history.
Yeah.
And at her time, when she graduated at graduated 19 years old.
Okay.
And back then, people went to college in their teens, 16 to 17, they'd go to college. And she got what we would call a master's degree now. She had a thesis and questions, and she would question about her, and she was taught to be a teacher. And she came back here, and it just wasn't anybody educated being a teacher. And so her father, which was my grandfather, great-grandfather, thought she might leave and go somewhere else, because she was really wanted to be a teacher. And so he built a schoolhouse for her.
That's great.
And it's still standing. It's up on big stones. And I went in there one time, and I may have put that in the article. I'm not sure about going in there and imagining where her blackboard would be, but it wasn't a blackboard. It was a piece of wood and chalk on the wood.
Really?
They didn't have blackboards.
Wow.
But-
What year would this have been?
1895.
1895.
Right.
I just think about women who were able to do stuff like that, and that's
Well,
before
they didn't
women.
back then.
But that's before women could vote.
Well,
I put that in perspective with
Yeah.
people. I was at the Centennial Park the other day, and they have a monument to women's suffrage and 1920 getting the right to vote and all that. They have
Yeah.
a big monument there, and so I took a pic with it, and I just think about that. That's just been a little over 100 years ago that we even got the right to vote, and then to hear about your grandmother doing what she did, and she wasn't even allowed to go cast a vote.
right.
Wow,
Not till the
You get-
20s.
that's crazy. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Well,
just crazy
I'll
to
tell you
me.
some other
Man, what a
people-
tough lady.
Other
That's
people
cool.
in her family are very interesting. She had a brother that he owned Woodard Hardware here in town.
Okay.
He had a son of the same name, Thomas Woodard. He's the only person I have found that graduated from a school in Springfield that went on and got a degree at Vanderbilt and a master's degree at Harvard.
Wow.
No, he got his master's at Vanderbilt and doctor's degree at Harvard. He's the only one I can find that went to an Ivy League school. That's sort of, he didn't go to Springfield. He went to Peoples Tucker School, which was before the Springfield High School, before it burned,
Yeah.
but he was going to Peoples Tucker. But anyway, he became a professor of science at Vanderbilt. He had a son, which was 10 years older than me, and I've taught, he died a couple of years ago. I talked to him for several years. He graduated from Harvard and Yale. I told him, I said, "You're a useless guy. You don't do anything." I don't know. He must have married women with money because he never did do anything.
With those degrees and never did anything?
Yeah,
really
never
with
did
it?
do anything. He wrote a book about Sophocles, which I have, and
About what?
Sophocles is a Greek god.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why when you said that, I'm like, that's kind of random.
So to me,
How bizarre.
he was living in Boulder, Colorado. The last I knew him, he
Okay.
died. But to me, that was useless education because he didn't use it. Didn't
That's
help anybody.
incredible.
Didn't do anything. But anyway, then on my grandfather's side, he was a Miles. His brother was the first one to graduate from UT in Knoxville in the late 1800s.
Okay.
And he became an engineer, a civil engineer. He ended up building railroads in South America, Central and South America. He died of pneumonia. But the whole family is very interesting, and I hate to talk about them a lot because it's my family and not somebody
That's
else's.
really cool. I mean,
It's,
yeah.
back then, education, it was just different. And
Yeah.
and looking at that, of course, I lived with my grandmother until I was 6 years old, and we moved to town. But I can remember the house was built in mid-1800s that we were in. It wasn't insulated well. But what I was going to talk about this morning was the post office.
Okay.
Back then, people, think about, a lot of times you have to think about how people were in the 1800s, late 1800s. We didn't have mail service to houses until 1902. And that, the mail changed in the late 1800s and early 1900s where you used to have to go to town to get your mail. Then they decided, Congressman introduced a bill in the late 1800s to establish mailboxes, and somebody put up their mailbox, then the post office would deliver. The problem was there that roads were pretty rough, especially
yeah.
in the wintertime, and if a mail carrier was going to carry the mail, he had a hard time. And if they didn't have a box, people were so used to just going to town once a month and see if they have any mail, and then get there and say, "We're calling you. We couldn't contact you about your car warranty."
Oh, how funny. Yeah.
But no, they, we had rural carriers, but there hadn't been but just a little over 100 years ago that we started rural carriers here in Robinson County. It started in 1902, and they had route numbers, and it's interesting to me when I read about all the post office information. Charlotte Edwards, Charlotte, what's her name? Anyway, wrote about it in the paper back several years ago. It was very interesting. But those guys, if they had a route, they had a Route 5 near Greenbrier. And a black man named Banks, Banks, was appointed to carry mail in that route.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the white people got all disturbed about it, and they just took their mailboxes down. They didn't want him delivering their mail. The black people in that route went and got mailboxes because they wanted to support him. So they would order magazines and order stuff so they would be getting mail. Well, this man was a teacher also. He taught in a black school. So he was he was a go-getter type thing, I think. But anyway, he lasted only a short while, and a guy that worked at the post office, a white guy, took his job. He placed him there because it was so much going on in this District 5 near Greenbrier. And so once they did that, people started putting their mailboxes back up. Just sort of crazy the way things are.
Horrifying, really, when you think about it. When you think
he
about
went on, he did well, but it's just interesting that people back, I have a record of early 1800s post office. Our post office in town was all over the place. There was one right near the train station, maybe just a few hundred yards north of the train station, and it was in the Colonial Hotel, which was on the corner of 5th and Main, and it just moved around a lot of places. Where the Bell Building is now, there was a post office before we built this big one, not this one, but where the museum is now was a post office built by the government in the early 1900s, 1905 or something like that. So that was a beautiful, fantastic building when it was built.
Oh, yeah.
Marble floors.
It's still beautiful.
I remember in the 50s going in as a kid. It just so impressive, the wood and the big windows and all that. And so the government came and built that. And then, we're now in the post office where we have in Springfield, but it's got a lot of age on it now. But that old post office was amazing to me to go in there. But people used to have to pay for mail if you had anywhere from 6 cents to 35 cents in the 1800s, and that's a lot of money for them.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But if you mailed one sheet, it was one price. 2 sheets would be almost double. 3 sheets. So according to the size of the mail, you had to pay for it.
Wow.
So people just didn't get magazine stuff. But back then, you didn't have a library. You didn't have a way of ordering books except through the mail, and they'd get a catalog and to order books from. So people would put up a post office box or go to the post office in Springfield and get to find out how to order books for their education and everything. It's just amazing. Now we're flooded with them. Back then, and then the late 1800s, they decided they want to the legislature talked about building a post office and a library in the same place. And they had all this money and all this kind of stuff to do it, and they never did do it. They just built the post office. And our library was all there on 5th Avenue and Walnut Street, in the Glenn building in the back. When I was a kid, you go down a little sidewalk, and there was a little lady that worked there, and you go in and you checked out your books. And I still remember that. That hadn't been that long ago.
Right.
That wasn't much of a library. Miss Sue Taylor was her name. And me and a lot of kids, we'd go in there and just had tables, and you'd sit and read or check out the book and go home with it. My grandmother had made her own library at her school. She
telling me about
she had a little bookcase, and she put books that she had in there, and I have her little checkout book that
that's cool.
Students would sign their name and check it out. And then she would either let someone else have that in the summertime, the bookcase, or if no one wanted to take it and keep it for the summer, she would take it to Mount Denson Church so people could check out books there, because just wasn't any library.
Right.
Then. So
I can't imagine.
I still have some of her old books, and they're in bad shape, but that she checked out. And then not now, no one's living. It went to that school now, but I used to talk to some people who went to that school. I have pictures of them at the school, and they were talking about that she would teach them about science. She'd go out and teach them about flowers and trees. And the funny thing, when I first heard about this school in the late 1990s, I read an article where one of my cousins, his name was Roy Woodard, he was an inventor, and he told a story of, he went to school there, that they took a little mason jar, or a jar like a mason jar, and put in there notes from the students, and they buried it below a certain tree. I forget what.
Out by the schoolyard.
Yeah, and I thought, wouldn't it be
Wouldn't that be cool?
Find that?
Yeah.
So I took a metal detector, I took a pick, a shovel, and it's about a mile from a Darrellville road.
Yeah.
And I go through. There used to be a lane going to it. Now it's not.
Yeah.
It's grown up. But I went down there, loaded with all this stuff, and I get there, and I thought, that thing probably had a metal top screwed on. I'll find it in my metal detector. I get there, somebody had used that site shoeing horses, and there were
Oh no.
horseshoes and nails all over the place. So
Oh, no.
that was out. So then I started looking for the willow tree, I think it was, or something. It wasn't willow, or something else. I'll find that tree. Well, it's got to be huge or
It's
gone
huge
by
now, yeah.
But there was
And
a
it's still-
bunch of them.
Oh my.
And I said, there's no way I'm going to find this jar. It's there somewhere, but I don't
And it's just
know.
little notes in it.
And this little stream in
Yeah.
front of the school, and she planted buttercups.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know the difference between daffodil and buttercup.
There's
There's
some
some
thing
difference.
as far as I'm concerned.
There is some difference.
Jonquils, my mother called
And she
them.
planted them there, and I read in one of her letters, and now they're all over the
Oh, I'm
place.
sure
They're
it's
the
just covered
old
up.
type that you don't
Yes.
see anywhere.
Yeah.
And so they were all over the place this time of year. Almost will
Oh
be out.
man, I'd love to go dig some of those and
that
have 'em.
water, and
Yeah.
I could sit there, and they had a well out back,
Yeah.
and I could sit there and just sort of think how it would be, because
How
it was
cool.
a mile away from her house, so she had to
Yeah.
go in a horse. My grandmother never learned to drive. She had a horse and buggy. She was born in
Uh-huh.
1876, and she died. She was 98 years old when she died in the 70s.
Yeah.
But she had a horse and a buggy, one horse buggy, and all her children she would put on the buggy, and they would drive to Mount Denson Church, which is about a mile away. Except the youngest boy, John Miles, he didn't like riding the buggy. He would run, and he ran across fields instead of around the road. The road was a long way.
Yeah.
He'd run across fields and run all the way to the church.
And beat them there. Huh?
And that's a long run,
Yeah.
especially over fields, and woods. But they used to go to church in that buggy, and my mother, she finally bought a car, an old car for the kids to drive, and my mother said, well, I was driving when I was 13.
Oh, listen, yeah.
She was
I
born
mean,
1920. So she said that mother bought a car and said, I learned to drive it just riding around on the farm,
Yeah.
and said didn't have a license. They didn't even require a license.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they got the car so they'd go back and forth to town.
Yeah.
My grandmother was a hard-headed person. When she decided to go to town, if somebody wasn't there to take her, she would walk. And it's 3 miles from town.
Yeah.
So she would be in the kids to walk, and somebody would see her and so there's Miss Bess, I'll pick her up. And she'd go to town, do her business, and then she'd turn around and come back
start
or
walking back.
have somebody get her. And, of course, back then, there wasn't any phones. And in fact, the first phone they had in the post office didn't come till 1929.
This blows my
First,
mind, guys.
I
I
can
mean, it's
remember as
just
a-
not that long ago.
I remember
all
as a
this.
kid,
Yeah, this is cool.
When you go in the museum there, the old post office, you
Yeah.
turn left and go up some stairs, and there's a room up there. They got old newspapers in there now, I think. But that room, during World War II, there was a Mr. Farmer here. His wife taught school, and he would go up the stairs and call Washington and report on the German people that lived here. There was some
You've told me
German
about that.
tobacco
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
Hendricksons and
That they
Chalmers
were
and things,
suspect
so.
of, and
And I
they were
thought-
perfectly fine, but they were like
well,
they're German.
I thought, who in the world would think the Germans would come over here?
I know.
Then they got the word. They got this
Yeah.
story out that the Germans are going to come in and parachute down on their farm on the Darrell Highway. And
Oh,
I
my
thought,
goodness.
people will believe anything,
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just a smidgen.
That's
We need to
fascinating.
have a regular radio show talking about history, Robinson County history. I think it'd be very attractive. And
Well, do you mean
people
like
enjoy it.
something just all the time, or just
Yeah.
on a certain segment?
no,
or,
I think take Mondays and just have History Monday or something. And
Yeah.
there's enough to talk about that you would
Mhm.
never end.
Well, I'm game. I'm
It-
game.
it-
We can do it.
And
Well,
there's a
and
lot
I
of
have-
people now interested. They'll come in and talk.
We can certainly like lock up at least one Monday a month for it right now, and
Yeah,
just kind of
do it.
see if you want to do that.
Get one.
Because I was just having that conversation. They'll have trying to keep people booked to come into the show with me working full time and teaching
Yeah,
and
I
all that
know
kind
it's
of stuff.
hard.
It's a chore trying to keep it, and also not double booking because people will text me when I'm doing other things, and then I'll be like, sure, and then forget to write it down, and you know. But that's why I like reoccurring guests, and I think that's a great idea.
I think if you took the whole hour,
Yeah, I think so too.
try it once a month on,
Let's
on
do it.
something day. And
Let's do it.
I noticed there's a lot of people popping up on Facebook asking
Mm-hmm.
about Robeson County and Springfield history.
Okay.
And some of them got the wrong information. But I think it's attractive, I think, to a lot of people. And there's a lot of people with stuff they know and nobody else knows.
Well,
And that's very interesting to me. I hate to see anybody die that knows something.
oh, no, my daddy, losing daddy, because my daddy took all kinds of knowledge with him that I hate that we don't have it. Because when you lose them, unexpectedly, you think you have time to write that down. And,
Now, to me,
we lost a lot with
the
him.
negative stuff is just as important, just like I'm
You gotta
talking
know the
about
good,
the
the bad.
black rural
Yes.
area.
Yeah.
That's just as important.
You better
as the other
believe
one.
it.
We need to know how we lived 100 years ago,
How
150
far we've
years
come.
ago. Yeah.
I love this is like wisdom from designing women. They were when we were switching from between 1999 to 2000. They did a show and about the millennial and all the millennial change, and there was that somebody was having a baby in the hospital, and there was this black lady who was 100 years old, just this actress who did it. She did such a beautiful job. It was breathtaking the way she did this. But she was sitting in the bed and she was passing, and all the people all her kids were gone, her husband, it was just her. So nobody was there with her. And so Dixie Carter came in and was just sitting there with her and talking about all the things. She says, all the things you've seen, and whatever the woman's name was, she goes, what would you want to tell people? She goes, we aren't what we were. We're not what we're not what we ought to be. We're not what we should be. We're not what we're gonna be, but at least we're not what we were.
Right.
We're not what we ought to be. We're not what we should be. We're not what we're gonna be, but at least we're not what we were.
I know some stories
And
that
I thought
I
that
hate
was
to
just
tell.
profound. We're out of time, but go ahead real
I
quick.
hate to, some stories about 1800s. I hate to tell because it sounds so bad, but we really need to know it.
You got to know the good, the bad, but you got to know the good too, and that's the thing.
Right.
That's unfortunately some people want to look at the bad and then they don't want to look at the good,
Right.
and it blows my mind.
You don't know where you came from. You don't know your heritage.
You've got to, and I mean, you think about what happened with the Native Americans and all of that, and you got to look at all of it.
Here.
Well, and two women, your sweet grandma that couldn't vote when she was doing all this stuff until 1920.
Right.
That's insane.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Another thing,
Incredible.
when she got married, the state law was you can't teach if you're married.
if
And
you're
that's
married.
strange. I would like
Yes,
to know why
I remember you
that
telling me
occurred.
that because a woman that was married couldn't teach. My grandfather, my papa, was a teacher at one point.
This was a female now.
Yeah,
The
but
males
I'm
could
just saying. But yeah,
get
men
off
could
to
do
be married.
anything. But anyway, we don't want to get. It's after. It's
Anyway,
8:03.
that's
It's
just a
going to be.
taste.
Wrap it up, LaVern. Wrap it up.
That's a taste of what we could
That's
do.
just it. We're, okay, well, second Monday. Second Monday's open.
Okay.
Let's do second Monday is going to be History Monday from here forth.
Okay.
History Monday, Bill.
I'll find some people.
Okay, second Monday, we're going to do this, guys, because this is fascinating stuff. Thank y'all for joining us. Tomorrow, Danny Weeks will be in here. Dr. Danny Weeks. I need to confirm with him. I forgot to confirm last month, and he had an appointment in another county. So I'll confirm with Dr. Danny Weeks, but I believe we'll be able to get him in here. School board's meeting tonight, so we'll be talking all about that tomorrow right here on 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a fabulous day.
Through the days of hurt and pain, my heart cried out, all is vain. I lost all my will to live. Too many times I tried, too many times I'd failed, and it only brought peace and shame. Then I saw that old cross where I won through his loss.
my Savior gave, and he gave his life